What's up, you guys? It's JCARDENASART, and in this video I'm going to be doing another wood cutout. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in one of my previous videos I did a wood cutout of my logo. You can see it back here. I bought a big chunk of plywood, projected my logo, I cut it out with a jigsaw and I painted it, and that's what you guys see back there. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to link it up top so you guys can check that out, so make sure you do. And because of that video, I have a bunch of extra wood just laying around. So I decided that for this video I'm going to be doing another wood cutout. And I was sketching and everybody really loved the astronaut with the donut. I'm not going to recreate the astronaut with the donut, but I am going to do another donut. I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to do a couple sketches, see which one I like, what composition I like and such. And yeah, I'm going to project it and cut it out and do the process all over again like I did with that guy. Keep watching if you guys are interested. Let's get started. Alright, I came up with a few sketches. I couldn't decide, so I asked a few people to help me pick. Everyone was really into the donut having a bite taken out of it, but they preferred this position of the donut, so I decided to combine both of them. Once that was done, it was time to project. I put the wood pieces on my easel and I used a Sharpie to go over the lines. The main goal here was to project as many donuts as possible with the wood I had left. After projecting, it was time for the jigsaw. This tool is something I'm still kind of getting used to. You have to be very patient with it. You can't force it or you'll chip into the wood or even cut into the design. And that's not really something we want. One down, a couple more to go. And of course, after the jigsaw comes the sanding. We gotta have smooth edges. Nobody likes splinters. Also, it just looks so much cleaner. Now I am back at the studio, and the very first thing I have to do is gesso the donuts. I'll be using clear gesso by Liquitex. That way I can see the Sharpie lines after the gesso dries. I'm not using any fancy brushes or anything for this. It's just a decent sized brush, cheap one too from Home Depot. Can't forget about the back of the piece. The main artwork obviously won't be there, but it helps protect the wood a bit. While I was waiting for the gesso to dry, I came across the modeling paste that I used in one of my previous videos. I'll put a link up to that one as well. But yeah, the idea of spreading this across the top of the donut to make it look like frosting sounded amazing. So that's what I'm doing. After the modeling paste is dry, it's time to paint. And like always, very first thing we have to do is block in. Starting with the leaves on all the donuts first. That way it gives the modeling paste a few more minutes to dry. I'll be using Utrecht Heavy Body acrylic paint. I feel if I were to use thinner paint, it would take a lot more coats, especially since it's on wood. Once the leaves are done, it's time for the donut itself. No details at the moment, only the basic colors you'll be using in that area. If it's green, just use a basic medium green. Nothing too light, nothing too dark. You can worry about values after you block everything in. We obviously can't forget about the sides of the donut. It'll be somewhat visible depending on the angle that you'll be seeing it. And then the delicious frosting. The modeling paste creates little dips and cracks depending on how you apply it. So you have to make sure that you get all that covered up during the blocking stage. Now that everything is blocked in, it's time for more accurate colors and proper values. The donut is much darker than I'd like it to be, so I have to lighten it up and adjust the colors bit by bit until I find the perfect combination. The frosting created with the paste is thick. It pops off the wood, so I have to make it look like there's somewhat of a little shadow being casted onto the donut. To do those little details, I'm using the Princeton Select brushes. The frosting definitely needed to be lighter. This pink was way too dark, so I'm doing that. And in the process, I'm using the texture of the frosting, like the little dips and such, to cast shadows and emphasize on the highlights and create kind of like depth to give it more form. If you're interested in any of the materials I use, the majority of them will be available in the description through affiliate links. If you make purchases through those links, I get a small commission, so I thank you in advance if you do so. I appreciate you. You're probably wondering how I'll make the donut look like it has sprinkles. Well, two ideas came to mind. One was painting them straight on, but I felt like it would look too fat when you compared it to the frosting created with the modeling paste. So I decided to use this medicine syringe thing and push it out little by little to make it look like a sprinkle. I did have to check if it worked a couple times. At first I tried sucking up the paste by pulling on the tab, but the paste is way too thick for that. So the next option was to fill up the syringe itself and push it out. The sprinkles didn't look perfect, obviously, but it definitely looked better than I thought. After the sprinkles dried, I had to chip off these little pointy ends left behind by the syringe. Painting the sprinkles was fun, but I did notice that I had to use really small brushes to avoid getting paint on the frosting. And I thought how this could have been avoided, and I could have just added the sprinkles in while I was doing the frosting and then worked on both areas together. But it's too late for that. Lesson learned for any future projects. These poor leaves needed some love. The donut was getting all the attention, so I went in and I added in all the lights and darks. I put a little bit of yellow, darker greens, and I used the brush strokes to make it look more like leaves. Adding in some final touches before calling it a day. I don't want all the leftover paint that I was using to go to waste, so I'm laying it all out randomly on the back of the donuts. That way the back isn't plain and it adds another layer of protection to the wood. After the paint dries, we gotta add some hooks. I want to be able to hang it, so I got these little frame hooks and I'm placing it right here. Looks awesome. Last but not least, my signature, and I'm numbering them. I managed to get 4 out of the wood that I have left, but I am keeping 1. The other 3 will be available on my website for you guys to pick up. Are you ready for some final shots? Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate the support. It'll all help my channel grow. If you're interested in purchasing a donut, it will be available on my website, JCARDENASART.com. I also have t-shirts like the one that I put on, and I have stickers. So if you are interested in buying any of that stuff, go ahead and check it out. I'll see you guys soon.